My name is Lawrence Larry Lumon White. uh, 87 years old. I've spent 32, 33 years in prison. While I was in prison, I found myself.
So I was talking to other advocates, and they said if you really want to know the truth of incarceration, there are two people you need to talk to. One was Eddie Ellis, and the other was Larry White.
Larry, he was more of like, the second coming of Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? The Malcolm after he went to Mecca.
How would I describe Larry? First thing that comes to mind is a good soul. He is a good man.
I met guys at Sing Sing who knew about Larry. Kids who were not born when he was in prison talk about him. How does that work?
When I was in my cell, and they locked down for the night, I would walk between the bars in the front of the cell and the sink in the back and forth. And I would go over things in my mind, things that I had read. At first, it was just a few people that I would speak to about what I was studying. And then I ran into a chaplain. They had a chaplain there by the name of Reverend Muller.
My name is Edwin Muller, and I'm a United Methodist chaplain. But I became chaplain at Greenhaven in 1967. I learned a lot about imaginal education. Basically, we're looking to find at an unconscious level operating images, to find the negative ones and turn them into positive.
He had a group called Exodus, and he had an opening right. My life is in the human struggle. The struggle is painful and deep.
Struggle is painful and deep. The struggle holds death and life. Out of the struggle of the now, we will create the human world of the future.
The past is approved, the present is received, and the future is wide open.
The past is approved,
the present is received,
the future is open.
Most of the men resented the phrase, the past is approved. They said, what do you mean the past is approved? You declare that your past is there for wisdom, to learn. You learn, it becomes like a library. You go to it to learn. And you refuse to use the past to create guilt and condemnation.
I really begin to understand my past, And remember Melissa Teller say, the burning question is how did I get here and where am I going? That's the burning question. I have to ask myself, how did I get here? I started working with the lifer organizations, and I used to write a lot of programs. And I read an article, The Shattering Effect of Long-Term Prison. And what he was saying, when you have a long-term prison, your life becomes shattered. Your relationships with your family, with your children, those things are not going to remain there 25 years from now, 30 years from now. For the short term, a year, But for the long term, it's shattered. And he has to come to grips with that. What I began to find out was that for the short termer, everybody had advice. But for the long termer, how you tell a long termer he got to do 25 years? How's he going to do 25 years? How do you do that? Where do you begin at? And so that's where I started from. So I began to write. And I never knew that I could write. And I used to look at some of the stuff I write and I was surprised at myself, where this stuff coming from. I came up with the idea of universal principles of confinement. First principle is to free yourself as quickly as possible. The second principle is to leave prison in better condition than when you came. And that gave me the clue right there. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I couldn't go back out there like I came in. I couldn't go out there with that frame of mind. So then I began to write about sentence planning and how to break down your planning. There are stages to the prison sentences that nobody talks about. I never read this nowhere, So gradually over time, I had what I thought was like a manual for a guy coming into jail, how to do his bid.
My name's Ernest Lee. I had an 18 to life sentence.
My name is Terry Carter. Definitely come from the alumni of Larry White.
Once you hear the judge say, you got such and such number to life. It's hard to see a future beyond that.
I started out, just being violent,
I didn't know how I was going to do my time. I just felt that I was very powerless.
I met Larry when he came to Attica.
I just sensed the wisdom in him, and a confidence in him and a resolve in him. And so he shared with me that the Life is Group program was held on Saturdays, and we attended the Saturday sessions religiously. We internalized so many concepts.
I just remember being in his class and being, enamored with his, way of doing things.
What Larry White did was encourage us to take self-stock, to see where we were in our lives at the time, to begin to map out your incarceration and how you chose to spend it.
First of all, he taught us to work with anybody who can help you.
Larry White was very effective in bringing together the Muslims, the 5%ers, the Latin King, or even to the Blood. I mean, he even had the leaders of many of these groups come into the Saturday Life is Group program. It helped to create a unity based on our social circumstance, and as a result, a decrease in violence and conflicts between various groups that exist within the prison system.
Time went by and it came time for me to go to pro board, and I'd go to pro board, man. It was almost like don't even sit down. Don't even ball. And they hit me with the first two and the second two, and it began to dawn on you, they ain't never gonna let me out of here. I had reached the point where I thought I didn't want to go to pro board no more, So I said, I ain't going, So I was over in school. I used to teach over in the school. And the officer in my block, we got along good, He came over there. He said, what's this out here? You ain't going to pro board. What you mean you ain't going to pro? I said, man, it's wasting my time. It hurts me. Say, go. Maybe they'll look at the work that you did. They ain't never looked at all the work that you did over the years in here, Say, go. So I went to pro board. And sure enough, they had all the stuff there, they read the stuff and say, you did all this work? Yeah, so we're gonna let you go home.
I don't know how long it was after he got out, he told me he wanted to work back in the prisons.
I came out here, I went to see the Quakers and stuff with Lewis. So this is the first time I met this guy,
Larry came into my office and shared with me that he had recently come home from prison, and that he had been working with the Quakers inside, and they told him to look up AFSC when he got out.
I'll never forget how he talked about coming home and never forgetting the people he left behind, and that the rest of his life would be spent in service to them.
The idea made all the sense in the world. The challenge that I saw was bringing it back.
After several years, it began to take shape. I certainly volunteered to be one of those people to go in. I just remember how the table would shake. Larry would be boom, boom. And he wanted to make sure everybody got it, that this is no joke, that this is real, and that it's important. Boom.
Hopeless for Lifers is in a clear, concrete form now. It's been put in a book form.
We've turned the manual into an electronic document, and it is now available on the Department of Corrections across the country's JPay system. The idea, I think, will expand. We've been given permission to run it out of 4 more facilities.
Larry's concept has become a foundation among lifers.
Many of the individuals who already went home helped to establish transitional programs for those previously incarcerated. I think the fruits of it is evident every day, and I'm one example of that.
And it's not like he's not the Pied Piper. That's what I love about Larry. A lot of people who do this get that bully pulpit, they get that microphone, and they want you to get behind them, and that was the difference between Larry. Larry want to give you some knowledge that, it ain't about me. I don't even care if you even see me, do this, do this here, do it home, and keep doing it,
Prison's a reflection of our society. how we lock people up. So Hope Lives for Life is a reminder to us, you know, we need hope. All of us need hope. I need hope. Hope is a necessary ingredient. And you have a Larry, you have, you know, Reverend Muller and others who are saying, we're not going to throw people away.